We have been blessed with so many dream matches over the history of WWE, with some matches being two top stars from different eras, much like The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, and then later on, Rock versus Cena. And then there's those other dream matches being technical masterpieces, much like Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. Then there are matches that happen that could be considered dream matches, but are highly slept on by the WWE fan base. Today I'm going to be highlighting some of those dream matches that fans don't really talk about or maybe have even forgotten about. And all of these matches have only ever happened once. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and hit subscribe for more wrestling content. Coming in at number 1, we have Kevin Owens versus Edge. Now I'm including this one first because this only ever happened at a live event in late 2021, and it actually was a steel cage match. This also took place in Madison Square Garden, and some of you may not even know this happened. The only way to watch this match is here on YouTube, and this went roughly 15 minutes and pull off some pretty fun moments. It's a shame we never got to see them have a rivalry on WWE TV. Ultimately, Edge would land up picking up the win. Coming in at number 2, we have Chad Gable versus Kurt Angle. On a random edition of Raw in 2019, we were gifted this treat of a match during a Kurt Angle retirement tour, where he would have a set of opponents to face before his WrestleMania match against Baron Corbin. If there's anyone on the current roster that anywhere near resembles Kurt Angle, it's Chad Gable. He currently has been on a run of a lifetime doing the best work of his career, playing this manipulative coach type character who is narcissistic and just the worst kind of human being. To say Kurt Angle versus Chad Gable actually happened is honestly pretty wild, and while at the time it may not have been considered a dream match, in hindsight it's not far off from considering it as one because the similarities they have, and again, because of how Chad Gable is doing the best work of his career and finally coming into his own. These two went roughly 10 minutes, and while it's nothing that's going to blow your mind, they still were given enough time to go out there and deliver a fun match from two former Olympic wrestlers. Coming in at number 3, we have Kurt Angle versus Batista. Continuing to talk about Kurt Angle, we're now going from 2019 to 2005, where Kurt was in his prime. This was the only time we got this match because Batista was drafted to SmackDown while Angle was drafted to Raw. The only time these two would be on the same brand again was in 2006, a year later, when Kurt Angle was moved back to SmackDown, but unfortunately, Batista suffered a major injury and had to strip the World Heavyweight Championship, which is the reason Kurt Angle was moved back to SmackDown in the first place. Then later that same year, Kurt Angle would have a brief stint in ECW before ultimately leaving WWE altogether, after feeling overworked and dealing with substance abuse issues. It's unfortunate they couldn't get a full rivalry, and their one and only match ended in a disqualification only about 5 minutes in as Triple H and Ric Flair came out and attacked Batista. Coming in at number 4, we have The Rock versus Eddie Guerrero. This is a match we very easily could have never gotten due to Eddie's personal demons he was dealing with. He had recently returned from a 5-month hiatus from the company that lit a fire under Eddie to outshine everyone he stepped in the ring with. So Eddie had the opportunity to show that by a Monday Night Raw main event match with The Rock, and this was one of the last few matches The Rock would have as a full-time wrestler. They went roughly 8 minutes, and while short, they did pull off some fantastic technical moves. The Rock ended up picking up the win for their one and only singles match, though they would meet later on in tag team matches. The audience that was there live got their money's worth that night. Coming in at number 5, we have The Rock versus Jeff Hardy. 9 months after that Eddie Guerrero match with The Rock, we now see The Rock portraying a heel as his Hollywood persona, taking on the young and upcoming star Jeff Hardy. While 2003 Jeff Hardy is a far cry from 2008 Jeff Hardy, it's still another one of those matches that's cool to say it happened. This match was designed to showcase the dominance The Rock had leading into his Backlash match against Goldberg, which was very evident considering it only went 7 minutes. Despite being very short, Jeff Hardy got to showcase some fun high-flying moves, and The Rock sold for him like the professional he is. Coming in at number 6, we have The Rock versus Bret Hart. On March 3rd, 1997, The Rock and Bret Hart would wrestle their one and only singles match, and this was around the time The Rock was still very much a rookie and Bret was a massive main event star. The Rock was pretty much in the exact spot Jeff Hardy was in when The Rock and him squared off, and coincidentally enough, Bret was also sort of in the spot Rock was in with that match as well, because he too was in the middle of a slow heel turn. Rock did definitely hold his own a bit against Bret, but Bret was definitely the more dominant wrestler in this match. The Rock did pick up the win though, but probably not in the way you'd expect. Bret Hart put The Rock in a figure 4 against the turnbuckle, and the ref ended up disqualifying Bret. With 1997 being the same year as the infamous Montreal Screwjob, Bret and The Rock would be on very different paths, with Bret moving on to WCW and The Rock becoming one of the most popular WWE superstars of all time. Unfortunately, this would be the one and only time this mega match would ever take place. Coming in at number 7, we have Jeff Hardy versus Shawn Michaels. On February 11th, 2008, these two would face each other for the first time, and what a match it was. It was meant to showcase Jeff Hardy as the rising star he was and for him to gain momentum. This match went about 15 minutes and it was as back and forth as you can get. Both guys got to do their signature moves and Shawn Michaels did the right thing by putting Jeff over in the match. The WWE fans definitely started to see Jeff as a bigger main event caliber star after that amazing match. His momentum didn't stop whatsoever, and this match with Shawn Michaels is a big reason why it didn't stop. Although if it wasn't for Jeff failing a drug violation, he was apparently supposed to win that year's Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 24. Instead, as most of you know, that honor went to CM Punk. Coming in at number 8, we have Jeff Hardy versus John Cena. At a moment of time when John Cena was the most over guy in the company, Jeff Hardy wasn't that far off from being just as popular as Cena. A year later in 2009, Jeff Hardy would actually successfully outsell John Cena when it came to merchandise. However, on June 8th, 2008, these two would have a match on Raw, and unfortunately for Jeff, he didn't secure the victory like he did with Shawn Michaels a few months prior. The reason for this match happening was a #1 contendership for Triple H's WWE Championship. Jeff Hardy was coming off a huge victory against Umaga the night prior, so he felt like he was next in line for a WWE Championship opportunity. This was one of those rare moments where Vince McMahon did something he usually doesn't like to do, which is putting his two top babyfaces in a one-on-one match. For that very reason, this is probably why Cena and Jeff never faced each other again afterwards. Coming in at number 9, we have Jon Moxley versus The Undertaker. At the time known as Dean Ambrose, in 2013, Undertaker and Dean would have a match on April 26, 2013 on an edition of SmackDown. Undertaker became the target of the Shield after he defeated CM Punk at WrestleMania 29, and they attacked him on the Raw after Mania. This led to Undertaker teaming with Team Hell No against the Shield in a mini feud, but before that, Taker would go one-on-one with Dean Ambrose in London. The match wasn't all that long, only going for about 5 minutes. Ambrose got in as much offense as he could, but it honestly wasn't that much, as Undertaker pretty much squashed him, as Ambrose eventually tapped out to Undertaker's Hell's Gate submission move. After the match, the rest of the Shield came in to attack him, further setting up the 6-man tag. Finally, at number 10, we have CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. This huge mega match happened on January 6, 2014, only a few weeks after CM Punk left WWE for almost 10 whole years. This is another one of those matches we almost never got, and to make this match more interesting, this actually happened on an old school edition of Monday Night Raw, which is really something they should bring back, by the way. Roman was just starting to get his feet wet, being presented as a bigger star who won the Royal Rumble only a year later in 2015. Fans knew WWE was starting to present Roman as the next guy around this time, and that was very evident with the fact that he actually beat CM Punk in this match. This was also proven when Punk went on Colt Cabana's podcast and explained that Vince McMahon wanted him to make Roman look extra strong. Now, I included this one last because this has the most potential to happen again, as both guys are still active wrestlers and are both in the same company once again. However, since 10 years have gone by since this match happened, it would almost feel like it's happening for the first time, especially with how Roman has changed and made himself arguably a much bigger star than Punk ever was, and completely reinvented himself. This would no doubt be a missed opportunity if it never happens at any point in the next few years, and with the inclusion of Paul Heyman, it would make it that much better. Now, those were matches I decided to include in this video, and I know there are more matches I'm missing, but if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and hit subscribe. Thanks, and take care.